my name is Becca. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to share with you guys how I built my freezer stash with very minimal pumping. Be sure to subscribe to my channel before I get into kind of just sharing how I did it. I share a lot of mama and baby content. You can also follow my Instagram, which will be linked down below as well. But let's get right into this. AKA like the dream. Now, I am a stay-at-home mom, so I didn't need to gain like an insane stash like some people do, but I actually, over the first 6 months of my baby's life, I got at least 1 bag of breast milk a day, if not 2, even sometimes 3 in like the earlier days. So, it allowed me to, as I've started kind of combo feeding at the age of 6 months when he started solids, I started weaning down nursings to about halftime so that he'd be getting a bottle during the other halves. And it's allowed me to still give him all breast milk because I have enough bags of breast milk to literally last me the next 6 months of his life, getting 2 bottles a day. So I don't know what ounces that correlates to, but it is literally 3 freezers full. My inside freezer, my garage freezer, and my outside barn freezer are full of milk, and I have enough to literally give him at least 2 bottles a day for 6 months. All right, you guys, so this is definitely the best way to get a freezer stash if you are a stay-at-home mom like me, because you will get more than you need, but you also won't have to do a lot of pumping. Now, the first thing is I did do a little bit of pumping for a certain amount of time, and I slowly weaned myself off of it, which worked really well for me. So basically, the only time I would ever pump, in the very beginning, I would pump before bed, just so that I was relieving any engorgement before I went to sleep, because once my little one started sleeping through the night, I would get engorged, and then I would pump before he woke up in the morning. So I would only pump 2 times in 24 hours, and I dropped that night pump very early. I think I dropped it by about 12 weeks. I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I dropped it. And then slowly I dropped the morning pump as well. I think I dropped that when he was around 5 months old, was probably when I dropped that. So I would pump though before he got up in the morning, and that is because you produce more milk in like the middle of the night. So if your baby does sleep through the night, you'll wake up super engorged. And I actually wouldn't have pumped if it wasn't for the fact that I woke up so engorged that it would make him like throw up because he would get milk too quickly. So I would pump before he got up in the morning, and I would get anywhere from like 5 all the way to like 9 ounces in 1 pump. So because I would get so much, I wouldn't need to pump the rest of the day, literally ever. I could get away with pumping once a day because I would wake up at about 5 a.m. and pump before he woke up. And I would get so much at that time because you produce a lot overnight. So that was my first thing that I did to get a lot of breast milk. I would at least get 1 bag, sometimes even 2 when I was doing my morning pumps. And as much as it's hard to get up before your baby, it really helped a lot because I was able to really get that stash up with getting at least 1 or 2 bags out of 1 single pump that, you know, I would gain enough that I was able to drop that pump over time as well. So pumping was not the best for my like mental health personally, so that's why I love doing it that way, where I would pump once a day and I wouldn't worry about it ever again the rest of the day. And it would just feel really good to like have one, you know, I got it done, I got milk, and it was done. Other thing I did, and this is the main thing, and even if you don't want to pump at all, that is fine. You can still get a lot of milk to build up your stash, and that is simply using a Haka, or there are some other brands. I've only used the actual Haka brand, but I know that there are some on Amazon that other people have used that are like off-brand, but it is basically just a plastic like suction thing. I have mine in here. This is what it looks like. Basically all you do is fold it down like this, and you put it on like the center of your nipple, and you squeeze it, and then you release it like that, and it'll hold a suction on whatever side you're not currently feeding on. So I would feed my little one on one side, and I would put the Haka on the other side. Even if I had him on both sides in a feeding, I would just switch this over, and no matter what, I would get some milk. Even if it doesn't seem like a lot, if you use this at every feeding during the day, most people are gonna get at least 1 bag of breast milk by the end of the day using this. You know, there were times where I'd only get like half an ounce in a feeding. There were times where I would get like 3 ounces in a feeding. It totally depended, but by the end of the day, no matter what, I'd have at least 1 bag of breast milk to put away. Sometimes 2, especially in the earlier days before my supply kind of regulated and went down more. So getting a haka is the best thing ever. You just suction it on one side while the baby eats on the other, and it's gonna catch not only the letdown, but since there's a suction there, it keeps that milk flowing on that side as the baby eats, and it also actually will stimulate your supply to increase because of that. So you will still have enough to feed your baby plus get this little bit of extra every time. And this thing was the biggest godsend in the world because, like I said, for me personally, pumping would make me dread breastfeeding, and it would make me just like dread that part of being a mom because I hated pumping. I just hated it. If I didn't have to do it, I didn't want to do it. So this was the best thing ever because it really is convenient. It's not hard to use. You can choose if you don't want to use it every feeding, but honestly, it's so easy that I did use it every single feeding, and it was the best kept secret. That's probably not so secret anymore. I think that more people are using these for sure because of just how awesome they are. But yeah, I love this. I've bought quite a few. You might notice over time that they'll lose suction, and sometimes if you re-sterilize it, it'll work better again. But if you notice that you're consistently getting a lot less than you used to, buy a new one, because I did notice sometimes that it would just kind of lose the suction, and when I bought a new one, I would go back to getting a little bit more milk in it every time. So that's definitely a pro tip for it. But this is how I built my freezer stash. This made it so the time Hayes turned 6 months, I was able to even cut this out completely. I don't even use this anymore. So I had enough milk by the time he turned 6 months to give him those like 2 bottles a day for the next 6 months of his life, from like 6 to 12. So we are still nursing 4 times a day right now, but he is having solids and he's getting 2 bottles a day. So it's kind of the perfect thing right now where, you know, I was able to cut down on nursing, but I'm also still able to give him breast milk because I froze so much breast milk this way. All right, you guys, I hope this helped someone out a little bit and maybe gave someone some tips on just building your freezer stash in a very easy and minimal and kind of lazy kind of way, because it honestly was so easy doing it the way that I did it, which essentially was just pumping before he woke up in the morning, because that's when I would get the most milk, and then using this for every feeding. And it made it so that I essentially pretty much never had to pump, which is totally goals, to be able to get a freezer stash with pretty much no pumping. Best thing ever. Be sure to comment down below any other videos you might want to see here. I do a lot of mother and baby style videos, of course. Be sure to subscribe for more. Follow my Instagram down below. And I think that's about it. So I will see you guys in my next video.